We are going to build AI-powered app idea generator using ChatGPT API and Node.js. We are going to use a concept called pair programming, which means two developers working on the same project. For this approach, one will be a driver and one will be the navigator. So to get started, we will decide either the AI is going to lead, and that is the driver, and we are going to be the navigator. So here we are going to be the driver, which means that we are going to lead, and then later we will involve AI into it. So looking at this project, we're going to have front end and back end. For our role, we are going to code the back end manually and also set up the project by ourselves. And later on, then we will involve AI for the front end and also to add new features to our existing project. So to get started, we are going to be the driver. The first step is the project name or the folder. It is called App Idea Generator. And I'm going to open this one using Visual Studio Code. Since we are going to do manual coding for the backend, there is no AI involvement over here. But in case you have installed AI related extensions, make sure to uninstall. This is by choice. But to make our life easier, VS Code has what is called profiles. So click on the settings icon and then profiles. I have a couple of profiles. For the profiles, it will behave as if you have installed Visual Studio Code for the first time with default extension. So click on profile and then new profile. I'm going to name this one as No AI and then create and then select that. So the next step is we need to have the folder structure. I'm going to have one called public, and this folder will contain both the JavaScript and then the CSS. Let me install an icon extension called Visual Studio Code Icons, or let me search for icons. All right, I have something like this. Inside, you're going to have script.js and then style.css. The next folder is going to be the front end, and that is a views folder as views. For the views folder, you're going to have only one template called index.js and then .env file to store our sensitive data like our ChatGPT API key. And we will need .getignore. In case you're going to push this project to GitHub, we need to provide the folders that we don't want to commit to GitHub. The next file is going to be the server.js. So this is the folder structure. The next step is we need to initialize this project as npm. So open the terminal and then make use of npm init --y for yes to accept the default configurations, which is this one here. If you look at it, we have the package.json file. So to get started, we need to install Express for our server. Let me clear it. npm I Express and then UJS as our template engine and .env to be able to access data on the environment variables and then hit enter. Perfect. For this project, we're going to use CSS module. Therefore, we need to configure the package.json file. By default, Node.js uses the common.js. So here, I'm going to bring in what is called type and then use the module system. Before we continue, unless we have our API key from ChatGPT, so if you visit platform.openai.com and to get started by using their API, unless you pay $5. So we need to add your billing method or information to get started. Assuming that you have an account already with your API key, for the API key, go to API keys and you can see your API key is being generated and you can create a new one. I'm going to call this one as app idea and then default project create. This is my API key. Back to the project. Here I'm going to provide as OpenAI underscore API underscore key, which is equal to this one here. The next step is the actual model. So if you get to the API references here or reference, it shows how to authenticate, but let's get back to the documentation, which is this one here. And this is the code that we need, which is this one here. But before getting started, unless we authenticate. So back to our project, let's continue to build the backend logic. So the first step is we need to have our server being running. Therefore, we need to import the Express framework for building the web server. And it goes like this: import Express. As I made mention, we are using the ESS module syntax from and then Express. After that, we need to import the OpenAI SDK to interact with the ChatGPT API. So if you get back here, we need to install OpenAI. So back to the terminal, I'm going to install npmi OpenAI. Alright, it is done. So back to the server file, we need to import OpenAI, and then we need to import the .env to load the environment variables from the .env file. It goes like this: import universal selector as .env. The next step is that we're going to import the path module for handling the file paths. So import path from the path module. This is a built-in module from Node.js. The next step is we need to import the file URL to path to convert files URLs to path. And this one is needed for ESS modules. So here, import, and then going to the structure from URL, file URL to path. And then we need to load the environment variables from the .env file into process.env. To do that, we're going to use the .env.config. The next step is that we need to get the current files path because ESS modules don't have the __ file name by default. So here as const __ file name is equal to file URL to path, and then I'm going to use the import .meta.url. We are going to get the directory name of the current file, and since CSS modules don't have the __ their name by default, we need to do some manual configurations here as const __ their name, which means the current working directory, which is equal to path.their name. Then I'm going to pass in the __ file name. These are just configurations. The next step is that we need to initialize the Express application. And to do that is equal to const app is equal to Express. We haven't got into the OpenAI integration. These are just a way of creating the server using Express. The next step is to set a port. So back to the .env, I'm going to provide a port which is equal to 5000 or 3000. So back to the server here, there is a port which is equal to const port is equal to process, in case we have it on the environment variable, as .env.port, and this is what we specified here on the .env file as a port. In case we have it, use it, otherwise use 3000 for it. So, or let me make it 3000 also here. It doesn't matter. Perfect. So the next step is we need to initialize the OpenAI client with API key from the environment variable. So the first step to integrate ChatGPT into your next project is to authenticate. So here as authenticate with OpenAI. And to do that, this is how it goes. Const OpenAI is equal to new, and then the OpenAI package as that. And then as an object, I'm gonna pass in the API key. The API key is what we got from our dashboard. And for us, we have saved it on the .env file, so it can be accessed on the process.env.openai API key. Until this point, we have worked on the front end a little bit by having these functions or logics here. These are for the front end side of it. So for the meantime, let's leave these configurations for now and let's focus on the main logic when we get to front end, and then we will involve AI into it. So to continue, for the backend, the next step is to pass the incoming JSON data request body. And that is what the user is going to provide into application. You need to find a way to receive that data. To do that is equal to, or let me say, pass incoming data. So here it goes like this: app.use as a middleware, and then express.json. And below here, you're going to have the route. You're going to have two routes. One route will be on the front end and one route will be the back end logic. For the front end, the AI will take care of it. So let's focus on the back end. So here, this route is going to be like this. You're going to generate the app idea, handles the post request from the form. So here as generate app idea API or route, and it goes like this: app.post, and then the endpoint is equal to generate, and then our callback function, we're going to use async request and then the response, and then try and catch block. In the try here, we're going to extract the custom prompt from the request body. This is where the user is going to provide the app idea. We need to extract that prompt. So here as extract custom prompt from the request.body, and is equal to const. We're going to destructure from the rec.body. So here I'm going to say custom prompt. You can name it whatever you want, and I'll show you how to use this one. The next step is simple validations. For this one, we want to make sure that the user is not providing an empty prompt into the model. So here as if there is no custom prompt, or there is no custom prompt dot trim, then we are going to return 400, which means bad request, and it goes like this: return res.status. We're going to pass in 400 and then .json as an object. Success is equal to false, and then error is equal to please provide. And below here, this is where the magic is going to happen, and this is where we are going to build the complete prompt by adding structure instructions to the user's input. So here it goes like this: const and then the prompt, which is equal to, we're going to use template literal, and then pass in the $curly braces, our custom prompt. But we need to provide some instructions to the AI irrespective of the prompt the user is going to provide. So here, let me provide some space here, and I'm going to say, please, let me paste the prompt here as that, and it goes like this: please provide a comprehensive app idea with the following details. One is the app name. It must be creative and catchy. One-line description, target audience, core features, at least 3 to 5 key features, unique value proposition, monetization strategy, technology stack suggestions, and format the response in a clear, structured way. The user is going to provide the app idea, and then we're going to append this prompt to the existing one from the user. So below here, we are going to call the OpenAI API to generate the app idea, and that is it. So it goes like this. Let me have a comment, and to get it done, let's observe the official documentation, which is this one here. But in our case, we're going to use what is called completion. So here it goes like this: const response is equal to await the OpenAI instance dot chat dot completions dot create. These are from OpenAI. And then as an object, we're going to specify the first one as the model name. Sorry, here instead the model name. If you check the OpenAI models, you can decide which one to use, either GPT-5, GPT-5 mini, or Nano. For this one, we're going to use the GPT-4 mini. So here as GPT-4, as you can see, the IntelliSense GPT-4o mini. And then messages. It is going to be an array of objects. The first one is system message defines the AI's role and behavior. So the role here is equal to system, or as a developer or as a tool, but we're going to use system. Then the content, here also you're going to provide some custom instructions that goes like this. You are a creative product manager and entrepreneur who generates innovative, practical and unique app ideas. Your ideas are well thought out and consider market viability. Always provide detailed structured response, and then bring comma. The next object after this is going to be, and here you're going to provide what is called role, and the role here is going to be the user, and then the content is equal to our prompt that we are going to provide. After the message, which is this one, we are going to have some configurations. So here, provide temperature. We're going to set to 0.9. Setting temperature 0.9 simply means that we're going to provide high creativity responses. And also the maximum tokens or max tokens, we're going to set to 1000. This is going to limit the response to 1000 tokens to control cost and then response length. And after getting the response from the AI, we need to extract the generated idea from the API response. So here as const idea is equal to response dot choices dot, an array. We're going to take the first index, and the actual content can be found on the message.content. And this is where we're going to send the successful response with the generated idea. So here is equal to res.json, success is true, and then the actual response as idea equal to idea. And in case something goes wrong, we're going to return res.json. The message here, or success, is false, and then the error message as error.message. And that is it. The last part is to start the server, and it's equal to app.listen. Then pass in the port, our callback function, and it's equal to, I'm just going to log console.log / localhost, and then colon, then the port as that. And that is it, guys. So let me open the terminal. And to run the application, instead of using nodemon, we're going to use node -- watch, and then the name of the file is called server as server, and then hit enter, and our app is running on this port. Currently we don't have the front end, but we can test the API either by using Postman or by using Tender Client extension from Visual Studio Code. So we're going to install what is called Tender Client. It is similar to Postman for API testing. So install that. After installation, you're going to have it as Tender Client. at the left side, I'm going to have a new request here, and it is http://. Let me look at the port. It is 3000 here. So here are 3000, and then if you look at the actual route or the endpoint, it is /generate. So here remove this, and then it's equal to generate. The method here is post, and then for the body, if you look at the code, we used what is called custom. So here as object, and here as custom prompt, I'm gonna say app idea about fitness, and then submit. Let's see the response from the AI. And there we go. We have the response from the AI. It is time for us to display this result onto the UI. This is where AI coding partner comes into play. So we are done with the backend. The next step is AI is going to take over to build the front end. And I'm going to use Cursor AI for this. You can use Windsurf or Tray AI. So here I'm going to have Cursor being open here, and I've opened that project, which is this one here. This is what we did manually. It is time for us to finish the front end. So I'm going to shut down this one because we are done with it. And let's focus on the front end. I'm going to open the AI chat window here. I'm going to say that I'm done implementing the backend logic for this. It's your role to integrate the front end part with eye-catchy design with vibrant colors. So with this one, assuming that is what we want, then I'm gonna submit this and let's wait. It's going to look through the entire project first, and then it will integrate the front end into it. Most importantly, it will check the package.json file to know which packages has been installed. So let's wait while Cursor is busy integrating the front end into our application. And let's see the final result, and this is what we have. You can continue to refine the design. So in here, I'm gonna say that fitness and then generate ideas. Let's see, it is loading, creating your innovative app idea. All right, and this is a response with well formatted. The app idea is this: the app name, description, target audience, core features. Alright guys, I believe you got to know the flow, how to build projects by using pair programming concept. If you found this video useful, comment, like, and share. Catch you up in my next project.